And welcome back to the Morning Blend. Look at this blue streak of hair to highlight a very important cause. You may have heard the recent news that there's this new study that reports more children are being diagnosed with some form of autism as they get older. The estimated is now a shocking 1 in 50. We're going to talk a little bit more about that.
And while experts say the increase is due in part to an increased awareness and available services that make the diagnosis. So joining us now are 3 moms, all with children on the spectrum. We've got Denise Schamens and Chelsea Budde are the co-founders of Good Friends Incorporated, and right behind them is Janet D'Amato, the owner of Salon Brillare. Good morning, ladies. There we go.
That's hard to say.
Thanks for being here, ladies.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yeah, it's very important. You know, Molly kind of mentioned this new statistic that's out, and we sort of brought it to your attention that we were going to mention it as well. What is your opinion on the 1 in 50 that's been released?
Well, what they're saying about this new statistic is that it's based on phone interviews with parents that were conducted in 2011 and 2012. So the CDC hasn't made that an official diagnostic rate yet. So I think it's really important for them to do their due diligence and some good data collection and come out with a new statistic. So right now I'm still saying it's 1 in 88. That was the official number released by the CDC in 2012.
Okay, so at least until there's more proof otherwise, that's a safe statistic to kind of go with, I think. What do you think makes Good Friend different? Because there are a lot of autism-related organizations.
I think what makes us different is that we're focusing on the culture, changing a culture in a classroom or in a community. So what we try to do is go in and educate everyone else around someone with autism. And so we're not there to try to change who they are, but we're there to help bridge the gaps and help people understand how they can be a good friend, how they can reach out, and maybe have some empathy and support.
Important to have that empathy, that support. And let's talk about the blue hair, because you're going to start putting in a little extension. What is the blue hair representing, and why should people get blue hair this month?
We're doing this campaign called Highlighted Up Blue for Autism. And what it is you can get a blue hair extension or a feather or some sparkly tinsel in your hair. And the point is kind of to stand out and stand up for people with autism. So whether it's the 1 in 88 or the 1 in 50, we need to do our parts to make sure that people know that autism is a neurobiological disorder, but it's also just kind of part of our society now, and we need to be willing to stand up for them.
And why blue? Is that just kind of, you know, because breast cancer is pink, ovarian cancer is a turquoise or teal color. Is it just the color that you've kind of selected to represent autism, or is there a reason for it?
Well, I think it began with Autism Speaks did a campaign called Light It Up Blue, and they still do that with blue light bulbs, lots of different representation of blue. So I believe that's where it began from. But, you know, having it be really
good on you.
obvious.
Yeah, I like it.
That's what we love about it, you know, because it's called an invisible disorder. So if you're not looking for certain symptoms, you're not going to understand that maybe they have autism until later on. But our kids always feel like they stand out. So that's why I think the blue is really a huge representation, because they feel different. And that's why we want to talk about it and explain it and educate it. So it's right there. Can't miss it.
For other parents who do have a child as well on the spectrum, or others who don't but maybe have that in their class or in their community, what kind of advice would you give them in terms of feeling more comfortable, or what kind of questions do you get asked a lot as parents of someone who is on the spectrum?
We always encourage people to start talking about their autism as soon as they're comfortable. And so when we hear about families who are waiting to tell their kids that they have autism until they're maybe in middle school or high school, we really kind of think that does them a disservice. We think it's important to start talking about it early so they can eventually become self-advocates and talk about their autism themselves.
Okay. I think that's important.
And I think you've got a couple of different events coming up. There's this Aloha event.
Oh, I wish you would have seen her just curl that up like that.
Oh, that's so cool. It's like curled like the rest of her hair.
Isn't it fun?
Oh, and then she kind of made it like blend in because the attachment is under here. But look at how cool that looks.
And that's real hair. So you can wash it, you can flat iron it, you can curl it,
Oh,
you can do all that kind of stuff to it, yes.
And what you're hoping is that people say, why do you have blue in your hair, right?
Yes.
You know, you're not trying to
Ask me.
hide it. You're saying, hey, ask me about this.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So what about these events that you have? What do you hope to accomplish as part of them?
Well, for our bowling event, we're really just hoping to bring families that have kids with autism together with families that don't.
Yeah.
So, you know, we have 48 lanes over the course of our 2 sessions on April 14th, and they're packed full of families and teams from corporations. And so we hope that people realize how difficult it can be to try to have a family outing with your loved one with autism, but also to see that it's doable. And that if we all just kind of are a little more flexible and a little less judgmental, we can all have a really great time together.
I think that's a great point, the being less judgmental, because autism can oftentimes be looked at as someone, when you're not sure that someone is on the spectrum, they think they just have a behavior problem. You know, and I think that's why the conversation is so important, as you said. Is there anything else that you think is important for people to know about autism in particular?
I think for people to understand that this is an across the lifespan disability. I think a lot of people think that the interventions kind of stop when kids are done with school, but we need to make sure that we're supporting these 1 in 88 throughout their lifespan. So having adult services and employment opportunities for people on the spectrum is important. And so having these conversations with kids when they're in elementary and middle school really just kind of lets them know that we're all in this together, and I think that's just really important.
I think the earlier the conversation starts, the better, because then it becomes just as normal as everything else.
Exactly.
And I think that's the thing that, you know, if you're a parent with a child with autism, you want your child to be accepted just as much as every other parent, and your challenge is so much greater because you know that they're different. Kids pick that up, but if they're introduced to it and they get a sense for how to interact with someone who has autism, then it becomes something that is a part of their everyday life. Just like siblings. Siblings grow up and live with it. They accept it, and they're fantastic with it. There's no reason why other kids, even without a sibling with autism, can't be exactly the same way.
Good point.
She's getting a little excited too. I like it. It looks
girls.
good.
And we won't leave it that long.
I think you should. Well, one really long
Talk
blue
about
piece.
get attention.
Yeah, what I think is great about this color blue is it shows up in your hair, which is a lot lighter, and Denise, her hair is a lot darker, but it still shows up and it's beautiful. And you both have outfits, the two that pick up on that blue a little bit. Yeah, I like that.
Liking it. Okay, we're going to give some information while you finish up with that. Here's for the first one. It's the Highlighted Up Blue campaign. It's going on through April 30th at Salon Brillare in Pewaukee, and Merle Norman in Brookfield, and hair by Gina at Solo Salons in Waukesha. Also, the awareness bowling event, the Aloha, Autism.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Aloha.
Autism Awareness Bowling event, which is Sunday, April 14th from 10 until 3:30 at New Berlin Bowl on Cleveland Avenue. There's a bake sale, there's a raffle. Here's how you can find more information out about Good Friends Incorporated. It's goodfriendsinc.com, or call for more information at 414-510-0385. Looking good.
Denise, your hair looks awesome. You did a great
You guys
job
look great.
with it. Really nicely done. And really quick, just so our information, Tiffany and I have through April 30th, but our graphic said April 20th. Is the 30th correct?
It is through the 30th,
Okay,
the
so
whole Autism Awareness Month.
The Highlighted Up Blue, and people can visit one of those salons to find out more about getting a highlight like that. You don't have to have a child with autism in order to do it.
No, we
And
hope
don't
everybody
forget,
does it.
this is Brewer Blue too. So
Oh,
it
yeah.
also starts the season off really well.
Perfect
So,
for
yeah.
the season.
Love
I
it,
like that.
ladies.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.